Okay, sorry guys, online and sorry here. So the idea, okay, just to make a few words about the idea here of why do we offer some data science courses and classes at emlyon. The real idea is that we have, and you know that data and AI is spreading over all the businesses, all the activity sectors, and the idea is to create today the necessary bridge between business and technology, instead of having people talking about business on one side and having people talking about technology on the other side. The idea is really to create those translators, okay, who are able to talk to tech and IT people, okay, talk at least, not mandatory able to develop their own tech and their own tools, but the idea is to create that bridge. And the real idea also is to help you to join and to jump into the world we are living in, about data, about AI, which you have everywhere, okay, and to make you the more aware of what's happening, and to help you also to develop your own critical point of view, okay? You can develop your own critics, okay, whatever, about the limits, about the impact, about how data and AI are used today, okay? So that's really the focus and the main idea of offering data science and AI courses inside at emlyon here and in a business school, clearly. And it's clearly a necessary mix today from companies and an organization when they hire someone, okay? So how it is organized, we have quite a lot of elective courses available and offered to PGE students at emlyon. The courses are organized in that way. You have different levels. You have the basic level, you have the advanced level, and you have some specific track. If you want to press in specific track, please refer to the introduction of the 2 specific tracks dedicated to data and AI that happened on last Tuesday, but you still can have a look at the video on Facebook link and probably on the Makers board. Here to focus, we have 7 basic introductory courses, okay? That goes over introduction to AI, introduction to what is the link between AI and business, the application. Also trying to overview the link between AI and our human status, and also how to go a bit deeper into what is, for example, some tools and some methods like machine learning, or how you can play and manipulate data with the IT and technological tool like Python programming language, okay? And if you want, you can go through those basic introductory courses and jump also, if you like it, to advanced courses that help you to go further than that, okay? Having a better look about machine learning, having a better look about how you analyze text, okay, with machine learning, but also with AI tools and stuff like that, going a bit deeper into Python and exploring new kind of programming language like R, like for example, that what Guillaume is going to introduce you, how to analyze data with that kind of tools. Okay, so all the courses are organized every time the same way, more or less. It's always very applied. Okay, you will face also real data coming from companies, coming from open data platforms, coming from different kind of organization, but it's really to help you to face how things happen in real life. And of course, facing issues, facing stuff, how it's happening and how you can deal with it. So this is the idea, okay? So we have a nice team and a great team here at emlyon teaching data and AI courses, okay? You have the overview of all the people, okay? Not all the people are not here today. They were not able to be all there here. Sorry, it's not that so bright. But we have with us Guillaume here, Guillaume Coquet. Maybe you can, in one word, you can introduce yourself.
Here at emlyon, and I teach courses both in data science and in finance. Okay, because of course finance is a tool which is a discipline which is very data intensive. So we use a lot of data mining, machine learning, etc. algorithms for finance.
Wow. Great, thanks a lot, Guillaume. Kartik, you want to introduce yourself, please?
Professor at the Work Technology and Organization Center. So my training is both in computer science, but my PhD is in like management and organizational sociology. So I see both sides of things. I do data analysis in R, I teach social networks, but I also care about like, organizations and work and like, how these things all come together. So I teach a class called AI at Work, which I'll talk about.
Thank you, Kartik. Right?
Hi guys, so I'm Frank. I'm originally a physicist, and then an entrepreneur. So I'm going to be teaching several of the technical parts of these classes. I'm teaching machine learning, I'm teaching text mining, and I'm teaching with Benoit also AI and business. We'll try to make this fun and apply it. And if you join us, you have great fun and a little bit of challenge.
Of course. Otherwise, it's not funny. No. Great. Vincent? Yeah, please.
Okay, so I'm Vincent. I'm here as an instructor, so I assist in some of the courses here that you will come to see. I have a background, I actually studied biology, then went into brain science for a little bit, and then worked as a data scientist myself. And I know I love teaching, so I ended up in this great position. I hope to see you guys in the future.
Great. Thank you, Vincent. And Lorena?
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm also an instructor like Vincent, so I help on some courses. I have a PhD in computer science. So
Great. Thanks a lot. And we also have all the great professors here. You can see based in Lyon, based in Paris. You know, all trying to deal with AI, tech, data, and business. And for every courses, they will help you to jump into this world. So it will be a pleasure when you join those courses. So to make it real concrete, maybe we can go and jump onto some specific courses that we wanted to show you, like 5 specific ones. So you have an overview of some introductory courses, the content and how things going on, and also some more advanced courses. Okay, so we can go on, maybe starting with the MK348, which is the AI and business courses. You will see that we chose this order to make it the more progressively going into the content and the technical parts. So the idea of the AI and business course, the MK348, is that starting with an overview of, okay, what is AI? What do we call AI? Why we call it like this? What exactly it is? Same for the data, okay? We talk a lot about big data, but it's always difficult to define them, how to define this. But the idea is really to just try to make it clear, all this. And after going into, okay, what's happening when you talk about AI and data into organization? Okay, starting to talk about how to implement a data strategy, what to think about, taking the example here about recommendation system, how do they work? Because this is probably one of the most used today every time you are just searching on something on the internet, buying some stuff on Amazon or whatever, or even, just the more basic recommendation system, it's your friend, or maybe the librarian, or maybe the guy, the waiter at the restaurant next to you, okay? So we're going to go deep into this, and the next session will be more about talking, okay, when we're talking about all that, what is really happening behind, how things are clearly working, going deep into, okay, machine learning a bit, trying to understand the tools and the methods behind, and also going deeper into deep learning. And next, exploring, for example, what we call natural language processing, NLP, maybe you heard about it, which is exactly how you help training a machine to try to understand the language. Okay. Maybe we can just go into, for one example of what could be and what the overview of this
Yes.
short technical aspects.
So one of the things we do in this class is we try to get you an actual real world experience of what entails or what it implies to be doing machine learning. And we use this as one of the examples. And as you see, we can do machine learning without even having to write any code. So the hands-on part of the class is going to be codeless machine learning by using these very simple tools, which is actually, these very simple tools are actually very close to what is happening in the real world with all the steps from reading the data to deploying the model in the business world or in the organization. So all those steps, we are going to work on those hands-on. You'll be doing all the steps in a very practical way, and you will have a very nice and clear understanding of what it implies doing machine learning in real world.
Maybe even without coding exactly.
No, codeless. It's codeless. No code. It's codeless.
That's a
There's
good
no
introduction.
code. This is just using very simple tools, but very practical, and using actually real business work.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Frank. Maybe a focus on the course from Kavik, AI at work.
Yes, so following up, also in this class, there's no coding. Like we do play with some tools, like, which are like graphical user interface based tools. So just for illustration purposes, but you don't necessarily need to, like, it's just to understand the concepts. So like the syllabus provides like more greater detail about like, the specific sections that we follow. But I thought I'd keep it more like high level and give you a broader idea of what this class is about. So we have this traditional idea of work, like, factory work, office settings, things like that. But what happens when you have like, instead of like your coworker that you're used to, you have a robot or a collaborative robot, like a cobot that works with you? How does that change social interactions? How does that change management? How does that change organizations? That's one side of things. What happens when like the things that we have learned to appreciate, value, evaluate, like, have like really strong emotions with, like music and like creative production? What happens when we suddenly have equivalent, like, online versions? So this is an AI influencer called Michaela, who is like AI generated. She has millions of followers, and she's like doing like, promotions and stuff like that. How do we come to like evaluate and appreciate these kind of like cultural products? What does it mean for the process of creative production? Similarly, what happens when the processes that many of you will be going through, like job interviews, applying for loans, things of that nature, when they suddenly become AI based, when people start using like, voice recognition based, language analysis tools, other affective kind of analysis to figure out whether you will be a good fit at work or not. And let's see if this. Okay.
That should be.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
It's okay. This is an example of like one kind of thing of like, how do we evaluate expertise? So this is an example of like, in London, you have this idea of the knowledge. So to learn how to drive a taxi in London, you would learn 100,000 landmarks, learn like 20,000 streets, and then they'll ask you, you'll sit in a hall and they'll ask you, tell me how to get from this place to this place, and you have to name the shortest route with all the right names. And this is something that people were taking like years to learn, and you got paid highly for it. We evaluated and valued it in a particular way. And now, like you have GPS and Uber, and like any of us can do this particular job. And that changes like our notions of how we value expertise, how we think about work, right? So overall in this class, like we think about like in the context of like automation and AI, we think about organizations, we think about labor markets, we think about creative production, because, you know, a lot of you guys will be interested in like, you know, art, movies, like things like that, how they're actually being changed by this kind of processes. And lastly, like what are the unintended consequences and how we can think about like, you know, bias or other issues that come up with the implementation of AI in work. So yeah, I try to keep it a light course, which is like, you know, give you a good sense of organizational sociology, but like still stay close to AI. So I hope you join us for this one.
Great, thank you, guys. So the next one is, okay, getting into deeper, and the next one is intro to machine learning. Yeah, Frank and Vincent.
So this class we are teaching with Vincent. Don't be too afraid of the figure here. Basically, we are trying here to go into the technical part of machine learning, really the basics. And so I'm just wanted to tell you a few words about what it implies. Basically, what we have in the real world is data. We do not have the functions. We do not know necessarily how to predict things from functions, but we do have data. And the question we want to address in this class is, how do we, given that we have data, how do we use those data to find the functions which help us predict anything we need? Example, the self-driving car. Self-driving car is something very current, and it uses very simple. The principle is very simple, although the machine learning is a bit advanced. So one of the things we do here is we learn how machine learning actually helps the car drive. Maybe you want to say more about this?
So what the focus is of the work we do is just to introduce you thoroughly, but lightly to all the basics. So you will not learn how to build a self-driving car, but you will understand the core that is at the core of what the self-driving car does. How does it think? How does it perceive the world, and turn that into a prediction of what to have to do? So input to output. How's that work?
Yes. About the course content, maybe after Vincent will give the class structure, I will go through the main points. Basically, we learn the foundation of machine learning, right? What it implies technically, what is a learner model. We learn to apply that on a computer. And most of all, there is no prior experience of coding required. That means even if you have never done any coding, the class is open to you. It is basically learning by doing. We give you the codes, you learn to fill up the codes, and by doing that, you learn how the machine learning model functions. It's a lot of fun and some challenge, as I told you. The challenge is basically just to stay there. There's no difficulty, you have just to be patient in the learning process.
To do the class structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have 8 sessions in the course, and the basic structure is always that you start with a small quiz on the previous week's stuff, so you can keep it active and to help you keep in the flow. Then you get an interactive lecture, so there's an introduction to the content, and you have it nicely handed to you, as well as there's an ability to interact and involve. After that, there's the equal amount of time to actually get to work, to code a little bit, and to put into practice what you've just learned. And in parallel to all those sessions, we have an individual homework assessment, which is intended to help you compile everything and go through it structuredly for you yourself once. This is sort of a practice how it would go in the real world. you've set up a thing from beginning to end. And finally, we also have a group project, which is I think it's probably going to be the most fun part, because you get to sit together, find a data set, decide what questions you want to ask it, and then actually develop a small machine learning algorithm that answers questions with regard to that data. So that's really sort of the culmination of everything you learned during the course.
Yeah, that's all.
The next one is the MK355. Yo.
Yeah, thanks. So just one slide, I'm really short. Basically, if you're doing a data science in the school and you want to go beyond Excel, almost exclusively you're going to be coding in Python, which is a very popular language nowadays. But there are other alternatives, and one of the purposes of this course is to present you, harshly let's say, one alternative, which is the R programming language. And R is, in my opinion, an even better tool for data science than Python, but that's my own opinion. And so that's why I want to share it to the students. And I do it via an angle, which is online dashboards and online applications, because we have a great package, it's called Shiny in R, that we can use to deploy online apps. And so in this course, so from scratch, because basically nobody knows R, I take my students very, very quickly to the deployment of their own app. Okay, and so this app is going to be based on a data set that you choose, okay, depending on what you like. What's going to be your passion? Is it going to be cinema? Is it going to be tennis? Is it going to be football? So here there's an app on space launches. There's an app on speed dating. There's apps on HR, on economics, on whatever you choose. Okay, so it's going to be your own project. So we're going to see the basics of data manipulation, super fast, data visualization also super fast. That's the first 3 sessions. And then we move on to the dashboard part. So how do you code a 100% customized dashboard? You choose the colors, you choose the layout, you choose the graph types that you want to include, whether it's scatter plots, lines, bars, maps, etc. And even towards the end, yes, I show how to use maps to present visualization. Of course, if you have geographical data in your data set, and also a little bit of sentiment analysis. Okay, so you start almost from scratch. It's always better to have some knowledge. It's 100% code, so it's really just coding. No blah blah. Don't have time for that. And so yeah, the progression, the learning curve is super steep. So my students learn very fast. Okay, which means that it's demanding, of course. But all of my students who finish the course are super happy, because in the end you have something like this link, okay, which is a web link. And it just shows the know-how that you have. Okay, I'm not all about know-how and zero about knowledge. Knowledge, it's free. We don't care. What people care about is what you're able to do. Okay, it's your know-how. And so in the end, you get to show that you're able to deploy your own dashboard app online. And so that's going to be if you're interested in data science, of course. But if you're interested in data science, what you need is a portfolio. Portfolio of things that you can do. Okay, you can show, I don't know, notebooks, Python notebooks, R notebooks, whatever. Maybe you can show packages. Maybe you can show online apps, APIs, etc. And so this can contribute to building your portfolio in data science. Okay, showing to the people, to the recruiters, okay, I'm able to do this. And so at the very end of the course, my students have this. It's their own project. It's purely individual, zero group work. And so it's, okay, what I'm able to do is this, okay? So I don't know if it's gonna work if we click on on it. So yeah, this is a dashboard by Hedwig, which was one of my students last year. We don't see it's here, yeah. So here it's in very big. And it's on space launches D'accord. Space launches here. So here, I mean, it's not super good looking on the screen, but it's pretty beautiful. And so you can scroll. So here, the presentation is not super great, but in practice, it's pretty beautiful. So she had a very good grade. Where is the original presentation? Below? Yeah, here. And so, and that's an app on speed dating. I don't know if maybe the app is not, the link is not working. Well, I've got dozens and dozens of such examples. Of course, if you're interested, go read the syllabus. You'll get more detail. But if you're interested in data science, it's always going to be a good line on your CV to say that you're able to code in R and to deploy apps like the ones that we create in Shiny, which are purely 100% customized. So that's an app on a recommendation system for speed dating. And so you provide your characteristics, and then at the end there's a match analysis, and it tells you, okay, what's the kind of woman or man that you should be dating.
Are you doing an opposite way of between being fun and being attractive?
So that's just another example, but of course I've got tons of them because my students have lots of imagination. Okay, and by the way, this session was cancelled for the C1 because I didn't have I didn't have enough students. So if you're interested, please apply. I think the next session is in January. So come, because unless I have 10 students, the session will again be closed. And that's too bad for my students who are often very much interested.
Thanks a lot, Guillaume.
Thank you.
Are shiny.
And a lot used in comments.
Yeah, well, at least in mine.
At least in yours.
So, yeah.
Great, thanks a lot. Okay, let's move on to this, last introduction to the MK933.
Okay, so just to, I'd like to agree with my colleague Guillaume. But actually, I was a data scientist, and we used R and we used Python. And R is a powerful data science tool, definitely. However, the computer scientists prefer Python because they need something which deploys easily in the system.
Fine. The computer science.
Yeah, I agree.
Good for them.
Now we have another topic. I've been teaching this already several times. It's been a great success. This is about how do we use text in business and in machine learning. So it's a bit more advanced than the previous courses. So first of all, most of people do not know what text mining is. So I'm going to just take a few seconds to tell you what text mining is. It's basically a discipline at the intersection of several disciplines, such as statistics, machine learning, data mining, databases, and linguistics. So it's a very large, basically it's a very large discipline. Of course, we are not going to cover all that because this is just a 12-hour course so far. Hopefully, we're going to move it to 24 hours. And I'm giving here a very nice definition of what text mining is. It's basically about making decisions. It's using the text in the organization and the internet and gather that information, extract the most useful information so that we can use it to make decisions in business. That's the main idea. So let me give you some business applications. For example, in hospitals, and I've been working in hospitals as a data scientist, we use a lot of text mining based on the clinical information that we get from the patients to predict the kind of hospitalization they will have, or the kind of disease they will have, or how long they're going to stay in the hospital, for example. In human resource, you can use, for example, the CV of the people, just reading through the text to see if this is going to be a good fit for the organization. So you see, it's something very practical. And there are other applications. So let's go into the course content. What you're going to do is you're going to learn how to read what is called structured text, structured data, then unstructured data, and something in between, which is half structured, half unstructured. Even that is a challenge actually in real life, because we know how to get the data. You see, just getting the data is a challenge in real life. And most of the data scientists actually spend up to 60–70% of their time just getting the data and preparing for the data. So you'll be learning how to do that. And then we use how the pre-processing and then extract information from that. And then we can also use that information to predict things, such as sentiment analysis or text classifications. And here, in this case, we are going to do something very practical, which is based on marketing. So for example, the example I take here is business intelligence based. So for example, assume you want to create a whole new customer service, social customer service, and you need to benchmark the best of the market. So what we are going to do is you are going to take their tweets, we are going to analyze their tweets and see how they are handling the information contained in those tweets and understand how actually they have become the best on the market. So we can use it for business intelligence. So that's a concrete example we are going to use. And the other concrete example we are going to use is given the comments that people are making on the web, how likely are they going to be satisfied with our products? So we're going to do that as well. It remains very practical. And the last question is, how difficult is the class? Well, now, you see, some of the people who took the class have never taken any coding before. And the reason we can't do that, it's not necessarily the best choice, but it has worked because we are using two tools. One tool is not using any code, it's codeless. And the second tool is code-based. So those people who have done some coding go straight into the coding part, and those who have not had any coding experience before, they go through the codeless part, and those two groups start to merge and interact and teach each other how to use both of the tools. Regarding the success, we have had 100% success rate for those who have not dropped, and the dropout rate is 1/30 students. So it's fun. Come join us.
Right. And I hope you like it, but now it is the time to open the questions. Okay, we can discuss right now, but if either you want to know more about, or you want to discuss more specifically on a few topics, you may have known that all our email starting with the last name of your professor @em-lyon.com. So pleasure, and I hope you like it, and I hope to see you in those different courses if you enjoy it and if you like it. Great, thanks a lot. So open for questions if you have any, online or on real here. Please do not hesitate. Check the discussions. Yeah, I'm going to check the discussions. Maybe we can just stop the recording and